the unseen visitor. Elena had just moved into her new apartment, a charming old building in the heart of the city. The rent was surprisingly affordable, and the place had character, high ceilings, large windows, and a vintage charm that drew her in immediately. The first night, she unpacked her essentials, setting up her bedroom and kitchen. Exhausted, she collapsed into bed and fell into a deep sleep. In the middle of the night, she woke up to a faint sound, like whispering. Groggy, she dismissed it as her imagination, or the old pipe settling. The next morning, Elena found a single dusty footprint in the hallway. She frowned, knowing she had cleaned thoroughly the day before. Brushing it off, she went about her day. Over the next few nights, the whispers grew louder and more footprints appeared, always in the same spot in the hallway. She started to feel a presence in the apartment, a cold, unsettling feeling that made her skin crawl. One night, she heard a soft crying coming from the living room. Heart pounding, she grabbed a flashlight and cautiously made her way to the sound. The room was empty. Just as she was about to turn back, she noticed the mirror above the fireplace. There, in the reflection, was the figure of a woman, her face twisted in sorrow, eyes hollow and dark. Elena spun around, but the room was empty. She turned back to the mirror, and the woman was gone. Terrified, Elena decided to do some research on the building. She discovered that a woman named Margaret had lived in her apartment decades ago. Margaret had been a recluse, tormented by the death of her child. The neighbors often heard her crying at night, and one day, the crying stopped. Margaret had vanished, leaving behind no trace except for a series of dusty footprints leading to the mirror in the living room. Determined to rid herself of this haunting presence, Elena sought the help of a local psychic. The psychic arrived, her face grave as she entered the apartment. She confirmed Elena's worst fears. Margaret's spirit was trapped, bound to the apartment by her grief. The psychic performed a cleansing ritual, the air thick with incense and chanting. As the ritual reached its peak, the apartment grew colder, and the whispers turned into a cacophony of cries. The mirror began to shake violently, and then, with a deafening crash, it shattered. Silence fell. The psychic, exhausted, assured Elena that Margaret had found peace. Relieved, Elena thanked her and watched her leave. That night, Elena slept soundly for the first time since moving in. As dawn broke, she woke to a bright, peaceful apartment. She got out of bed and walked to the hallway, freezing in her tracks. There, on the floor, was a single, fresh footprint. Elena's heart raced as she realized the truth. Margaret's spirit wasn't gone. It was never going to leave, and now it had found a new companion to share its eternal sorrow.